Hi guys. It's right here. Hi guys, I'm live. How you guys doing? Jimmie here. Hope you guys can see this well. I took in 7th grade. My dad taught a class in electronics at Mount San Antonio College, and I audited it because I was his son. I could do that, and I learned a little bit of electronic theory. So just for fun, and just so anybody can know that, if anybody's interested in being a gearhead, or the Radarator has a lot of electronic theory put in the design of it, I just thought I'd do just a stupid fun video on electronic theory. Just real quickly, just stupid, but let's just do this if we can. So it's lesson time, but I'm not an expert at this stuff, but let's just try. Something called Ohm's law. Ohm's law. It says V equals I times R. Now, I is current, which should be C, but C is used for the speed of light because it's a constant, and C is constant. The first letter in constant is C. So I can't be C. So current can't be C. So we call current I. And then R is resistance, and V is voltage. Voltage is measured in volts. Current is measured in amps. Resistance is measured in ohms. And it's called Ohm's law. So let's just look at it and see what it means mathematically. I'm just a dummy at this, but whatever. Maybe this is just fun for somebody. Voltage is potential. Voltage is current stimulating power. It's called voltage. High voltage. That's an AC/DC line. Voltage. Voltage is potential. Electrical power manifest as current power. Not current as meaning up to date, but current meaning flow of electrons. Voltage means more electrons are going to flow faster, harder, and longer, and more. And that's voltage. I is current, meaning how much current is flowing? How much current are you getting here? How much current is actually, put your money where your mouth is. How much current do you have? Is it so many amount of amps of current? R is resistance. Resistance is something that is against current, makes current less. The higher the resistance, the lower the current, everything else being the same. So if you have a certain current, let's say, of I, and if the resistance is high, and it has that much current, then it's more voltage, because that current had to fight more resistance to get that current. Therefore, the voltage is higher. See that? Like if the resistance is this much from here to here, and I have a certain amount of current, I, but that's so much voltage. No, but if the resistance is way up here, and I have that same amount of current, then I must have more voltage because I had more resistance to fight against it. The current had to fight more resistance to get that current, therefore the voltage goes up. Fair enough? The other way of looking at it, or at least another way, if the resistance is the same, so this much resistance, if I have that much current, then I don't have as much voltage because there wasn't that much current to go with that resistance. But if they have the same amount of resistance and there's this much current, then I had a lot of voltage because I got that much current from that resistance. So therefore more voltage. So voltage is IR. It makes sense because if resistance is the same and current goes up, you had more voltage, you had more power, you had more potential. If current's the same and resistance went up or is higher, then that current had to fight more resistance to get that current, therefore voltage goes up. That's Ohm's law. So you can say it also as R equals V over I. I can't even hardly write. Resistance equals V over I. That's supposed to be voltage. I just can't write sometimes. So resistance is the ratio of voltage to current. Higher voltage, same amount of current. Let me get this straight. Oh yeah. See, current, voltage, resistance, higher voltage. If the voltage is higher, if the current is the same, let's say the current is just the same, equals IR. R equals V over I. Voltage over current. Let me think about that. This is voltage over current. The voltage, if the current is same and the voltage is higher, this is a ratio of voltage to current. Resistance. Okay, so if I is the same and voltage goes up, then voltage, the higher voltage resistance. You had to have more voltage to get, if the voltage is big, that means you needed a lot of voltage to get that much current. Yeah, I get it now. Okay, if R equals V over I, if I is a set number, whatever, if the voltage is higher, then it took more voltage to get that current. Therefore, the resistance was higher. If the current's the same and the voltage was lower, it took less voltage to get that current. Therefore, the resistance was lower. I get it. That almost spun me there. So the ratio of voltage to current is resistance. And you can tell that intuitively. Now let's do it the other way. I'll do it at least one other way. I equals V over R. Current equals voltage over resistance. Oh yeah, if the voltage goes up, you're going to have more current. If the resistance goes down, you're going to have more current. Because if the resistance is low, that makes a higher voltage. That makes a higher current. So based on this equation. So if you have very little resistance with the same amount of voltage, you're going to have a lot of current. On the other hand, if you have a certain amount of resistance and you have more voltage, you're going to have more current. So that makes sense too. So that's called Ohm's law. I learned a lot of this in 7th grade when I audited the class my dad taught, but I later just dropped it. I took electrical engineering in college, but not only what I needed to. So I never followed up and became the electronic nerd guy. But I have studied it, and I hope you enjoyed this lesson. I guess peace, love, and rock and roll.